Hey, welcome to Megan's Movie Blogs. This will be my very first video over on this channel. Some of you probably follow me from my other channels, but this is going to be completely different. I am going to be talking about movies that I watch and things like that. Now, I'm no professional. I don't know a hell of a lot about directors and things like that. I just want to share movies that I watch and things that I enjoy and don't enjoy. Um, yeah, so let's get started because today I want to talk about my experience watching DC films. Now, a little bit of a background is that I stopped watching superhero movies a long time ago. I used to love Superman. I watched Smallville. I enjoyed all the Superman movies from when I was a kid, where Christopher Reeves was the Superman character. And after he had that awful injury and, then eventually passed away, I kind of stopped watching superhero films. I grew up watching X-Men, obviously Superman, Batman. My father was a big Batman fan, so I used to watch a lot of that. But over the years, I kind of stopped. Now, more recently, in the last, let's say, 3 years, I have started watching more films. And I was having a conversation with my girlfriend, and she said to me, "Well, have you watched all the DC films?" And I was like, I haven't really been interested in superheroes. I'm just not. And she was like, "You know what, give it a try." And she suggested that I watch the very first one, which was Man of Steel. Now, when I first looked at this Superman, I was a little bit like, um, maybe I'll give it a go. He looked a little bit more like Christopher Reeves compared to a lot of the other Supermans that I've seen. So I started watching it, and instantly I was taken aback. I was like, wow, they've really changed things up, and I was super impressed with the film. Like, I love how they depicted him. My only qualm with the film was that he didn't speak enough for me, but that didn't take away from his origin, like giving us the breakdown of where he came from. It's pretty much how I remembered it. How he grew up on the farm, and they go into the history of his life, and how he lost his father and all that. I really enjoyed the film. I get goosebumps when I talk about it. So it was a really good film for me. I enjoyed it. My only issue with it was I really wish that he would have spoken more. But I guess that they did that on purpose. They filmed it that way for a reason. Um, so, but yeah, I was hooked. I was hooked on DC. I was like, okay, well, if this is what Superman's all about, what's next? And then she suggested that I watch Batman versus Superman. And I was never really. I love Batman in the years of the Penguin and all of that. But again, that was when I was a child. So I didn't really quite know what to expect, especially with Ben Affleck as a Batman. So I watched the film and I was like, OMG. Like, I was honestly super happy about that. Sorry about that phone. I should mute that. So I was honestly really happy about the whole film. I love that we got to see some Wonder Woman in there. Um, so enjoyed it 100%. Henry Cavill is a really good Superman. I'm super impressed with him, and I'm super impressed with Ben Affleck as a Superman. I never expected that. um could he be a little bit more badass, I suppose, in this film? Yeah, I think he could have been, but overall I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really like Ben Affleck. um yeah, so that one kind of surprised me a little bit. I also then went and watched the first Wonder Woman. Now, I did not know much about Wonder Woman growing up. I know that there were a lot of people that absolutely loved her. I fell in love with her character instantly. Like, I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. Gadot is absolutely beautiful. She plays that role so well. She's so sophisticated, and I love the whole story about where she came from. I feel like they gave us a really good origin there by showing us, the world that she came from, and then moving on, into the war, how she found love, moving from the island and then into the city and things like that was, during the war, not knowing why they dressed a certain way. And I just think they portrayed everything really well. Brilliant actress. She is so beautiful. I love this movie. And I'm not, this is not a top favorite film situation, but Wonder Woman is right up there for me. She is so awesome. I love that we have a female superhero. We don't have a lot of them around. Well, we didn't back in the day. I mean, like I said, I only watched X-Men and things like that, and X-Men when we had Storm and Jean Grey. But other than that, we haven't really had like a superhero female that has a whole story about her. So I love her. I think she's absolutely fantastic. And she's like in my top three, 100%. I love her. I'm repeating that all the time. And then I decided to watch. Okay, so Aquaman is something that I wasn't interested in watching Aquaman. Not at all. Even though it's part of the DCU, I wasn't interested because of Jason Momoa. Now, I'm not a Jason Momoa fan. I watched him in Game of Thrones, and I did not like him one little bit. To be fair, I only watched like one season of Game of Thrones, but I didn't like him. I didn't like the character that he played, so I immediately assumed his character, and I didn't want to see him in anything else because I was just like, no, this guy is, meh, I'm not interested. And then my girlfriend once again convinced me to watch it. And she was like, give him a chance. Give the film a chance. Now, the cinematography in this film is so beautiful. To be fair, it is in Wonder Woman as well. But I absolutely died watching this. Those underwater scenes. Oh, it was just a beautiful movie. It was just done so beautifully. And the story behind Aquaman touched me. I do believe I cried in this film actually. And I love, his origin story about his mother and how he had to find the trident to become the king. And oh, it was just great. And then he had this brother that was horrible, and it was just it was just all around a pleasing film. Visually, the story, all of it. Absolutely loved this film as well. I I think out of most of the DCEU films, this one is visually one of the most appealing, to be fair. I recommend this movie. Actually, I recommend all these movies because I thoroughly enjoyed every single one of them. I'm not a critic, I'm not any of that. I'm just somebody who likes to watch films. And if I think something is crap, I'm going to tell you it's crap. I don't think this is crap. I think this is brilliant film. Then I've also watched, of course, because obviously I waited for this film. I waited because I love Wonder Woman. I fell in love with her character, and I couldn't wait when I saw this, that this was being released. And I was like, okay, well, when it comes out, I'm watching it. Nobody's gonna bother me. I'm gonna put myself in a room, lock myself in a room, and nobody's gonna bother me. Now, do I think that Wonder Woman 1984 is as good as the first one? No, I do not. But do I love the story? Yes. Do I think they could have done it a little bit differently? Yes. But I love that we got to see Diana as a child competing, and where she learned her roots and where she became Wonder Woman, essentially, with the morals that were instilled in her. Um, I I like the movie. I don't hate the movie at all, but I don't think it's as good as well done as the first one. I think that I learned a lot more about Diana in this one than what I did in the first one. I think it's great. I really do. I love watching Wonder Woman in action. I feel like that this was more of a love story though than it was her, you know, being somebody who saves the world. I think we learned a little bit more about her love side of life. Cheetah in here, very well done. The story was really good. How this woman was so envious of being the same as Diana, and essentially, changed who she was to try and be something, but lost everything about that who she was. I feel like the story had a really good moral and a very good something to think about situation. I I was touched by the film, especially Diana's speech in this film. Like that gave me absolute goosebumps. I was like, whew, this is absolutely beautiful. And then we started with I went and watched, obviously before this I watched the Justice League, the original Justice League. Again, big fan. Um, I enjoyed the Justice League, but I think that it wasn't my favorite. I will say that. Like, it was really good. The Justice League. The I loved the film. It wasn't my favorite. There were a few things that ticked me off about this film. I don't like how Diana was portrayed in certain situations, but that could just me be being feminine and things like that. I didn't enjoy her being kind of sexualized in certain instances. Um, but I did enjoy the fighting scenes, and I loved how Flash got to save that family, the Russian family. I thought that was quite sweet. I loved knowing, a little bit about Cyborg, even though it wasn't really much. I liked because I didn't know who Cyborg was, so that I was introduced to Cyborg in this film. I felt sorry for him, but I wanted more, so I wanted to know more about him. Batman, I felt was kind of weak in here. Like he wasn't as powerful as he could have been. I didn't hate the film. I enjoyed the film. There was just a few little things that I feel like could have been done a little bit better. The cinematography in here was really good. It was beautiful in moments too. Um, I, as I said, I'm not as clued up with the whole DCEU, storyline and all of that, but I'm gonna say that if I have to compare this to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, I have seen Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 times. I am planning on watching it again. I absolutely loved this film. 1000% better than the first one. Um, I love that we got to learn so much more about Cyborg and Barry Flash. I love that we got to see, you know, him in more of a superhero role as opposed to just some extra. I felt like Flash was a little bit more of an extra in the original Justice League. So in this one, I love that we got more Flash. I really hope that they make a Flash movie, especially if Zack Snyder could do it. I would love to see Flash, more Flash. I finally understand the whole cyborg thing. Like, I didn't quite get the whole story about him with his family. I got that that he lost his mother and things like that, but I didn't get too much about, Cyborg. So this one, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we got to learn a little bit more about him, which was great. I like that. Now, Aquaman. Aquaman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, I felt, if I'm not mistaken, I felt like we got a little bit less of Aquaman in here. Did I hate that? No, not really. Because, Aquaman has a whole film dedicated to him. So, um, and I like that he he was portrayed slightly differently in here, and I liked the portrayal in this film as more than I did in the Justice League original one. Because in the first, I didn't like the comments he would make in the first one, so that kind of gave me that Jason Momoa feel that I didn't like. Now, my top three. Um, Now, this is in no particular order. Batman in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh my god, that is the Batman I know. The one that kicks ass, that's not afraid to do shit. He will go in. Like, I enjoyed Batman in here. I think he was badass. I love the way that he drove his car. I love the way that how he flew that plane. All of it. He was just so involved in all the action sequences, and I enjoyed that. Really, I did. Um, Wonder Woman killed it once again in here. She is so good. I love how powerful she is. I love that she's not afraid to take on the guys. Like, she will get right up in there and just go for it. Superman, well, again, he was a bit more on the silent side, but I didn't hate it because he had died, of course. So I didn't hate that. And I love though that when he came back, he was so great. Like, it was an epic moment when he came back because you could feel the return of Superman, which was absolutely awesome. My skin stands up when I talk about this. Um, but yeah, now my other interest in this film was, obviously, I enjoyed watching the scenes at Themyscira, where the Themyscira island from where Wonder Woman is from. I don't know if I'm saying that right, to be fair, but anyway, Themyscira, um, where we got to see Steppenwolf come to the island, and I was very impressed with Steppenwolf in this one. The first one, I was like, meh, he's alright, I guess. But in this one, Zack Snyder's version, I enjoyed the way that he looked. The only thing I didn't like was his puppy dog eyes. But other than that, I loved the whole outfit, the way that Zack portrayed him and how he looked and how badass he was. Like, when he took on those Amazonian women, to be fair, I was rooting for them all the way. But how powerful he was, and how, like, he just pulled those horses with the women on them, like, it didn't matter to him. He was strong, he was tough, and he didn't give a shit. And I was impressed with Steppenwolf in this one. I love that Wonder Woman cut that thing off of his head, the horn. That was great. Absolutely fantastic. She's such a powerful hero, and I love that she gets all up in the fight scenes, and she's not afraid. And when Steppenwolf spoke about her family, how she turned around in that anger moment and just wanted to whoop his ass, like, I absolutely loved that. It was great. Justice League, Zack Snyder's version, was everything compared to the first one. Now, I'm a bit of a feeling kind of person, so I kind of enjoyed, I know it was a slightly different angle, but I kind of enjoyed Flash saving the family in the original Justice League. There were a few little differences that maybe I would have used from the original in Zack's as well, but I guess that he had his reasons for cutting them out and things like that. I really hope that we get some more from Zack. I really do. I would love to know more about, especially what happened at the end of this Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, where we got to see that alternate universe with the Joker. I would love to see that. I would love to know how that whole situation panned out. I would love to know more about the story, behind the scenes, like when they mention Harley Quinn and Lois Lane and things like that. But going back to Man of Steel, I just want to say that I have one qualm, I want to say qualm, one hiccup, whatever word you want to use. I am not a fan of Lois Lane. I don't like I don't like who they chose as an actress. I feel like I expect more. And the only reason I say that is because I grew up watching Superman, and the Lois Lane that was in there was very different. Maybe I kind of expected her to be more like the Smallville Lana Lane. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so that's my only issue with that. Would I recommend these films to other people to watch? I'm like, why haven't you watched them yet? I'm so glad that I got into that. So I want to give my girlfriend a huge shout out for that, for getting me into DC films. I definitely I still need to watch Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn's film, and I do believe there's another one. So maybe I'll do an updated version, and then I can maybe finally do my tops and see. But I will say that my top three favorite, and I'm not going to put them in an order, is Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. I love them very much. But I'm very intrigued by Flash. I think Flash is a sweetheart, and I would love to know more about him. So, Zack Snyder, do something about that. So, guys, that's all I wanted to do. I hope you enjoyed this very first video of me talking about DC. Who would have ever thought that I would be talking about DC films? So, thank you for watching. You can hit the like button, and if not, you can subscribe. I will definitely, if you haven't subscribed, then subscribe, sorry. And yeah, I'll definitely be posting something again at some point. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.